In Gaza, hundreds of people have taken part in the largest anti-Hamas protest there since the start of the war, with Israel demanding that the group step down from power. It comes a day after Islamic Jihad launched rockets from northern Gaza, which prompted Israel to order the evacuation of large parts of the city of Beit Lahia. Let's speak to our correspondent who joins us from Jerusalem. Who's behind these protests, Amir?
It seems to be just a popular outburst of real desperation from the residents of northern Gaza. It seems to have erupted, as you say, after rockets were fired from that area, and Israel then subsequently issued an evacuation order for that part of the Gaza Strip. This is an area which has seen some of the worst violence and deprivation throughout the war. We've seen the videos of the protesters walking through just a landscape of real, as if this is a cry of desperation from those residents. They've called for the end to Hamas's rule, an end to rule by violence, an end to the war, and in their words, an end to the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, and a refusal by them to be forcibly displaced. Just showing how much desperation there is amongst those residents. And indeed, we heard reports subsequently that some masked individuals went and tried to break up the protests, alleged to be members of Hamas.
Who then do they want to run Gaza?
In some of the chants, we see people saying that they don't want any outside force. They want to don't want any outside force to rule Gaza. They want Gazans themselves to be in control. They say we are a people of peace. There's been so much talk internationally about, the forced transfer of Palestinians outside of the Gaza Strip. So many discussions and debates internationally around what the future of the Gaza Strip should be, with obviously in those discussions from the average Gazan on the ground. And it looks like this protest was an example of Gazans saying, no, we should be heard, and we want peace, and we don't want war. Indeed. So it is indeed a real moment, these protests. We saw the protests going into the evening, hundreds of people out in the street into the night time, and we've heard reports of further protests planned for today.
How reacted to these anti-Hamas protests?
So far there hasn't been any major reaction. There has been a lot of domestic politics happening here in Israel in the past days. It doesn't look like any sort of politicians have especially jumped on the protest so far. Some might say that the chants also making clear that they are anti-war was perhaps a sort of determination by the protesters to say, whilst we are against Hamas's rule, this isn't necessarily endorsement of the military campaign to dislodge Hamas from the Gaza Strip. They were very insistent, those protesters, going out to say, we want Hamas out of the Gaza Strip, but we also want an end to the war and an end to the violence.
Emir, for the moment, thank you very much. Emir Nader in Jerusalem.